got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me, yeah.
Your life is about to change. You fulfill the dream of yours to make it to the NBA.
With the first pick.
I got many dreams, I got plenty things that I wanna see. Will I put that on me?
It's a very impressive group.
NBA scouts are drooling right now.
He is a potential #1 pick.
Yeah.
So who will be the #1 pick? We're now 30 minutes away from Minnesota officially being on the clock, and just like anything else in 2020, this won't be your typical draft. With free agency 2 days away, training camps opening in a few weeks, first game in a month, it could get wild tonight. Actually, it already has gotten wild. I mean, I think my phone's blowing up already as we welcome you into our Bristol studios. I'm Cassidy Hubbarth. We're coming to you live on Hoop Streams Live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and the ESPN app. And I got my guy, Nabil Karim, by my side. We got Omar Raha over there on the other table. We'll check with him in just a bit, but this is wild. I mean, normally this Bristol campus is a ghost town, but it is humming tonight, right?
There's a crazy energy here right now. And it's just because everyone is so intrigued. Right? When you look at the draft itself, we don't know who's going #1, right? So there's a lot of intrigue around that. But then the movement around the NBA, that just adds another element to it. It's just going to be a lot of fun.
And you know who's the most fun?
Oh, I know.
Is our guy, Kendrick Perkins. Big Perk, of course, joining us on Hoop Streams. And Perk, when I talked about my Twitter blowing up, it's mostly because of you, because you got a whole lot to say. First and foremost, how you feeling, Perk, on draft night?
Oh, I feel good. You know what? Listen, I'm excited to be on Hoop Streams. You know how I am about my Hoop Streams family, but listen, draft night is a special moment. You know, it was everything. And I'm waiting to see the smiles on these young guys' faces to fulfill time.
Perk, maybe what we need to do is get you off some of those computers, because I know you're blowing up the timeline, because we're going to work on your signal, because right now it's a little choppy. So we'll get back to you, Perk, okay? Because we want to hear a lot from you. But we do have a lot to get to in this show. I sit down with Commissioner Adam Silver and talk about, you know, the plans as we're fast approaching, as I said, the season. You had a conversation, you and Omar had a conversation with RJ Barrett.
Yeah. For RJ, it's interesting, right? Because he came into last year with so much hype. He's been through all of this right now. He's gone through this situation. So we talked to him, hey, what was it like for you? And now kind of with some distance for him, having separated about a year, having some NBA experience, he can kind of give some advice to some of the guys out there.
And we're getting a lot of news here as I'm sifting through Twitter right now. You know, we're seeing some big news about Klay Thompson right now, as there's been reports that he has suffered a leg injury. It's separate from the right leg.
It's right now reportedly the right leg.
Yes, and the left leg was with the ACL.
ACL last year, yeah.
But we're seeing players like LeBron James, Donovan Mitchell, all sending up prayers. So that's some news that, you know, we're obviously paying attention to.
That's big because we talk about the Warriors. What are they going to do?
And they're picking second.
Exactly. And now if they don't have Klay, or potentially they think they might not have Klay, that might change your plans. What do they do with a guy like Andrew Wiggins, right? It might change the whole outcome for them.
Yeah, and that's less exciting news to talk about. But of course, like I said, Woj has been on top. He's already announced a couple of big moves already today, and let's get into some of them. With Perk, whose signal now is back up.
Yes,
Perk.
Yes.
Yes. This is the way we need you, Perk. This is the way we need you. So let me ask you first, what is the biggest storyline? Actually, we're going to get into some of your tweets, because you just tweeted out Morey already being impactful in Philly, and that's in regards to the Sixers trading Al Horford and a first and second rounder to OKC for Danny Green. What is your take on this trade?
Well, I've been saying this all along, that the first step that Philly needs to make is to get off of Al Horford contract, and Daryl Morey came right in and done just that. And he got back Danny Green. Yes, I know Danny Green is set to make $15 million or $16 million this year, but this is his last year on this deal. And also it brings that veteran guy, that championship pedigree around Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. So I think it was a great trade by Daryl Morey and the Philadelphia 76ers, in my opinion.
You were talking earlier on Twitter about the Rockets and getting a massive haul if, in fact, they can get rid of James Harden. But everyone's talking about that big three potentially playing together. You, on the other hand, think Kyrie's got to go the other way.
Well, I just feel like, I'm down here in this H-Town, so I know what's going on. And listen, Tim and Fertitta and the front office of the Rockets are not just about to give up James Harden. They want a 4-star or 5-star player in return or a lot of assets. They're not just going to give up James Harden. So, in order to make the deal work fast, it's going to have to be James Harden for Kyrie Irving. But if the Rockets are going to take their time and they're going to be uncomfortable and they're going to sit and weigh their options, as they should.
Who really has a leverage here? Because the Rockets, obviously, they have Harden for another 2 years, a third year if you include the player option. So you would think they got the leverage, but man, this is a superstar-driven league. When guys want out and they're a superstar, they usually go. Who's got the leverage here?
Well, the Rockets have all the leverage right now because they're showing you, we're not going to trade you just because you asked for a trade. And people try to compare Anthony Davis' situation to James Harden's situation. It wasn't the same. Anthony Davis was coming into his last year of his deal. That makes a huge difference. James Harden has 2 years left under contract, so the Rockets are like, we don't have to trade you. We could do what we want. We can do what we want with you, and they're doing the right thing. So they have all the leverage right now.
Okay, well, obviously we're going to see if anything comes forward with that, what's happening with James Harden. Perk, we're going to get back to you later in the show, and we're going to get your thoughts also on that Bucks starting five, which you said was going to be the best starting five in the NBA, but there was some breaking news of the Kings and the Milwaukee Bucks had hoped to bring Bogdan Bogdanovic the framework of a sign and trade, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, but Bogdanovic plans to enter restricted free agency Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, sources tell ESPN, which, Wow. We'll see what happens with that, but we'll get more into that later. But as I said, this is a historic night. This is the first time ever that the NBA draft has been on the Bristol campus. Yep. So earlier today, I did a little behind the scenes of how this night came about. Studio E is the 2020 home for the NBA draft. 45 members of the NBA and 80 members of our ESPN staff have been working since last week to put this show on tonight. And ESPN will deliver live look-ins from 17 team draft rooms, and 19 broadcast satellite trucks will be used to help present the draft, including 15 trucks throughout the U.S. and 4 trucks internationally. All right, another unique part of this draft is that 30 draft prospects were sent this draft locker weighing over 100 pounds, which includes every hat from every team to make sure that they have the right hat by the team they're drafted by. They are also sent an iPhone with a tripod and a ring light to make sure that their shot is perfect, as well as some Beats headphones and speaker. Tonight's broadcast will also use this virtual set and huge green screen to showcase some virtual graphics and do some live interviews. And up this large staircase, man, I need to work out, is the Woj Loft, where Woj will be getting very creative with his vocabulary who we can, as he tips every pick. So Adam Silver will come out of his lounge, get a card with the draftee's name on it, and take the 30-foot walk to his podium, first passing by the NBA draft official hat. He will come over here to his podium, address the camera, make the pick, and then the draftee will pop up on this large screen where he'll do a virtual dap hug, if you will. Look, it's 2020. And here's what the outside of ESPN's Bristol campus looks like right now, as we're about 20 minutes away from the start of the 2020 NBA Draft live on ESPN. And I'm now joined with Adam Silver, NBA Commissioner. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us here on Hoop Streams.
Absolutely.
And this is your 14th NBA draft, making selections as either commissioner or deputy commissioner.
It's the first time I've heard that
Really?
number.
Yes, 14, 7 and 7. But this
I'm still nervous.
Are you? Well, I would assume so also, because this is going to be a draft unlike any other that you've experienced. So, in thinking about this experience, what do you think you're going to miss the most about the traditional draft experience?
What for me has always been the most enjoyable is when you're on stage and you're looking down at the families. And of course, I know, well, Woj knows, but whatever. I come out and I'm saying the name of the young man. And so I'm watching, and maybe even if they've heard it, it's not official. So I can look exactly to that table and watch those instant reactions. And that's really fun. And it's also, there's a lot of time that, between picks where I can mingle a little bit and say hello to the families. Typically the day of the draft, we have a big luncheon with all the family members as well. Like to me, it's as much attention is on the actual draft picks. They're so young, right? But it's like, so, and as I've gotten older, I mean, not just in the 14 years I've been doing this, but a lot more life, that I relate more to the parents. And in some cases, the grandparents. Mm-hmm. And it's just so sweet to how the families are there and to be around them. So that I'm really gonna miss.
I mean, even if Woj says, the Timberwolves have interest, everyone's tuning in to see you announce the pick. I mean, this is a performance for you. Do you have a pre-draft routine, like a player goes through their routine to get pumped up to walk to the podium?
Not really. I mean, it's usually, early on when I started doing it, we used to be at the theater at Madison Square Garden. Now we're at Barclays in Brooklyn. So I live in New York City. So it was more of a New York event. And again, the routine was more the lunch with the families, spending the time with the families. This is very different. Obviously, driving up to Bristol to be here. It's the draft in the bubble. That's what we're dealing with right now. So. No special routine beyond that.
And you think about the bubble, 0 positive tests. You crowned a champion. We're here doing the NBA draft. You have a plan in place. So I ask you, Adam, what are you most proud of as far as what the NBA has accomplished so far in 2020?
I'm most proud of the fact that, it's become a bit of a cliche, but that the NBA so-called family came together to make it work. It required sacrifice on everyone's part. I mean, just begin with the teams. 8 teams had to agree that they wouldn't get to participate in the bubble, which was a big deal at the time, and of course then 6 were willing to come down, have a shortened end of season play-in tournament in essence. So we had that agreement. And then once we got down into the playoffs, tremendous sacrifice. And again, I use that in the context of what everyone's going through in their lives, but players' willingness to follow those protocols. For those players who made it all the way to the finals, they lived in that environment for essentially 100 days. Separation from their families, same for the coaches and other team personnel. So I guess I'm just most proud of the fact that we all came together during difficult times, and everybody expressed a willingness to compromise and sacrifice and found a way to make it work.
And we're finding a way to make tonight work. And then in about a month, we'll hopefully see some games. And so thank you so much for taking the time on this special night, the NBA Draft 2020.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's bring in Omar now. And social media, it is going to be hot tonight. We know NBA Twitter already kind of on fire. What is trending right now?
So one of the first things is not to make a trade with Sam Presti. Everyone on the internet is reacting because he finds a way to keep racking up all of these first-round picks. People thought he wasn't going to be able to do anything with Chris Paul. He turned it into first-round assets. He just did it with Danny Green as well. He's killing it, and everyone is curious, what is he going to eventually do with these first-round picks? What's going to be the big move that he makes? So if you're NBA GM and Sam Presti is calling you, just hang up the phone.
That's right.
It's not going to work out well for you.
He might fleece you. And he's got a lot of picks. We got to see what he's going to do with those picks.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards is going to be a pick.
Yes.
He might be number 1 overall. He's an interesting cat, man, and he's got a pretty interesting online presence, too.
Yeah, there were a bunch of quotes that came out yesterday, and a lot of them stuck out. I think the first one was the fact that he liked the NFL a lot more. He doesn't even really love the basketball that much. He
Just a hobby.
He likes NFL a lot more. But the biggest one was he kind of took some shots at Damian Lillard. He said that he can really rap and that he sounds like Lil Baby.
Dude, Dame is legit, though. You can't go after him like that.
Well, Dame also killed it during his All-Star performance.
Yeah.
You know, like, so he can do the performance.
Yeah.
He's had tracks with Lil Wayne and legit artists. So I don't know why you're a rookie and you're taking shots at Dame, especially when Dame was just going off in the NBA bubble. He was killing everybody in sight. And I wouldn't want to be Anthony Edwards when you're playing against Damian Lillard.
And you know Dame's going to have a diss track come out now.
Yes,
He's going to have his own now diss track coming out, right?
1,000%.
Fashion is a huge part of this night. Now, I know it's a different circumstance this time around, but fashion is still going to be a big part of Draft 2020.
I mean, we saw LaMelo Ball. He broke out his outfit.
Yep.
Right now, he's doing an Instagram live. He's ready to show off his whole fit. The shoes are always interesting. I'm not big on can we show the shoes again? I like the traditional sneakers.
Right.
I don't like these spiky dress shoes that are gold. I'm not a huge fan. What do you think?
I can't afford them. So
I don't think I can either.
I wouldn't even put them on. But you're right. What about the shades? You feeling the shades?
I hate the shades. I guess I'm a hater. I love everything else, though. You asked
a
me
nice
about
fit.
You asked me about the 2 things I don't like.
Right.
I love everything else.
See,
I like the coat. I like the shirt. I like everything, just for the record.
Right. The shades are hard to pull. I just don't understand the shades, but
I feel like that
I'm
was
not
the
cool
thing.
either. That's the thing, too.
I feel like the shades was a cool thing to do in 2013, 2014. No one really does it anymore. Not in 2020.
Yeah. Well, LaMelo looking good. He's
Yes.
looking good, and we're going to see him soon. We're about 15 minutes away from the draft getting underway in Bristol. Anticipation, it is building as Adam Silver announces the top pick in the draft on what could be a wild night. All right, joining us now is the number 3 pick from last year's draft, RJ Barrett of the New York Knicks. And RJ, we were just looking at LaMelo Ball's look tonight, which looks pretty fly. I got to ask you this, man. Be honest with us. How much time did you spend on your suit game last year?
Honestly, I didn't spend a lot of time on it. I kind of just had an idea. I wanted to go pink. I wanted to go Sam, and just kind of, do something crazy that would speak to me. And I was working with Indochino, and they really helped me a lot with it. So it wasn't too much of a process.
What was the most stressful part? Was it before the draft started, or when we got to the number 3 pick and we all knew that you were going to get drafted?
I think that was that moment I was actually a little nervous.
Yeah.
Just because I felt like, I wanted to go to New York. I felt like New York was going to pick me, but you never know what's going to happen. So I am very, very glad that they did pick me.
RJ, you had so much hype coming into the draft year, that year of college for you. There's guys like LaMelo Ball, a couple other guys in this draft who have a bunch of hype surrounding them. What kind of advice can you give them moving forward?
Honestly, the advice I would give them moving forward is just to be yourself, man. Just go into the league and be yourself. Work your way up. Be aggressive and confident at all times. You're in the league for a reason. You got drafted for a reason. So just go be yourself.
There's a lot of rumors going around. No one really knows who's going to be the first overall pick. What's your guess? Who would you take with the first overall pick?
Honestly, I don't know. There's so many talented guys in this draft. I used to be in this draft class actually, so I compete against a lot of these guys, and just a lot. And I think that anyone can kind of go. I feel like from 1 to 15 or 1 to how many ever. I think everybody's good. So I think you can't lose in this situation.
What about your team specifically? What do you want to see them add this year?
Where I want to see our team at, just getting better. We got a new coaching staff, and that's it. We're gonna follow their lead. Tibbs knows what he's doing. He has his reputation. I'm very excited to play for him. I just want to see us, get better and reach our full potential. Honestly.
You mentioned that you know some of these guys that are going to be drafted tonight. Have you spoken to any of them? Has anybody said anything interesting? Are they nervous? How's everybody feeling?
My college point guard, Trey Jones.
Yeah.
he's there, so I've spoken to him quite a bit. You know, I'm excited for him. I see how hard of a worker he is, and everything that he's been, you know, going through. He has his brother in the league, so you know, I'm excited to watch him get drafted.
So how long until you blow up his phone when he gets drafted?
Oh, immediately. I hope I'm one of the first people that he hears from.
Do you think he's going to pick up? If you FaceTime right away, is he going to pick up?
He probably won't, but I'm going to try anyways.
Yeah.
That's cold, man. If he blocks him, that's pretty cold.
He's like, I'm in the league now. I don't need to pick up your phone.
I got to move on. I got to ask you, just from college to the NBA, what are these guys looking at? What's been one of the biggest differences for you from college to the NBA and that transition?
Honestly, the guys are just bigger, stronger. There's bigger court. There's different rules. There's also vets that have been in the league for how many years. This is the best of the best. So it's different altogether. The amount of games you have to play, the amount of hours you have to be in the gym, everything just increases, and the level of competition. So yeah, just come in the league, just be ready. I mean, you've been working at it your whole life, so I feel like you're prepared.
Speaking of your first NBA season, what was your welcome to the NBA moment? Was there anything that stuck out?
I had 2 welcome to the NBA moments. Actually, I had way more than that. I think it was our 3rd game of the season. Kyrie Irving, sidestep 3 for the game, right in my face. Then
yeah,
I don't know if it was the game after or something. Jason Tatum, fadeaway, right in my face for the game. Brad Beal had 20 points on me in a half in preseason. Like Devin Booker had 15 on me in the first quarter. Like there's all these moments. Like these guys this is the best of the best. So.
Listen, I'm going to finish off by asking you this, okay? I know you want to be the king of New York, but Steve Nash, your godfather, is now there. He's coaching Brooklyn. What's the trash talk been like? Come on, give me something.
No, I just been telling him that he's going to be a good coach, but you know, not when he plays the Knicks. And he laughs. He laughs every time. We just tell him he's going to have a losing record against us. You know, just talking trash. You know, I'm really happy for him. Honestly, I'm really happy. I didn't even see it coming. But I feel like he'll be a great coach.
That's typical Canadian right there. Polite trash talk, typical Canadian. A lot of please, a lot of thank you. Hey, I'm going to give you a thank you because I'm Canadian. So, Omar, you could be honorary Canadian too.
Okay.
Right. Thank you, RJ. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, we're minutes away from the first pick being selected in the NBA draft. Let's get you caught up on what you need to know. Here's Mike Schmitz.
Here are the things to know about the 2020 NBA draft. So there are 3 contenders for the top pick, and it starts with Anthony Edwards, the 6'5" scoring guard out of Georgia. 230 pounds, 6'10" wingspan. He's the most effortless scorer in this draft. He can explode to the rim with force. He can stop on a dime from the perimeter. He can create space with a variety of different NBA caliber dribble moves. Just a stud offensively, and he's the favorite to go number 1 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then you have LaMelo Ball. He is showtime in the open court. He's traveled a very strange path to get to this point, going from Chino Hills in California to Lithuania to Spire Academy out in Ohio, and then finally Australia. But now he's grown to this 6'7" jumbo point guard who's highly creative, makes everyone around him better. And then James Wiseman. He's the unicorn in this draft in terms of bigs. 7'1", can really run the floor. He's a lob threat. He has a chance to be one of the best shot blockers in the NBA someday, and he shows potential as a perimeter shooter, big lefty. So there's a lot to like about his long-term projection. Now, this is a strong international draft as well. You have Denny Avdia, 6'10", very versatile forward. You have Killian Hayes out of France. He's a lefty point guard who can make every pick and roll pass. Alexei Pokuševski out of Serbia. He's a bit of a mystery man, 7 feet tall, kind of like a Serbian bull. And then the last piece of information I'll give you, one riser who's really shooting up draft boards, Patrick Williams out of Florida State. 6'8", 7 foot wingspan, 230 pounds. Reminds me a little bit of OG Anunoby. So there's a lot to be excited about going into draft night.
Only time will tell if we have some legends in the makings, but don't have to wait to watch these legends. You can now own the Emmy-winning Last Dance on Blu-ray. People still have Blu-ray? I love it. Going to ESPN.com. I had so many Blu-rays. Oh my God, I was all into Blu-rays. The set includes over 4 hours of bonus features, special packaging, and 28-page gallery book with stunning photography. Releasing just in time for the holidays, a limited Blu-ray set makes the perfect gift to the basketball fanatic in your life. I can play on all my Blu-rays. Check this out. Of course, The Last Dance was epic. All right, guys, we are following a lot of breaking news right now. One of the biggest stories is Klay Thompson. He suffered a leg injury during a workout today, according to the team. And Woj is saying that he injured his lower right leg and is expected to undergo testing in the next few days to determine the severity of the injury. But what we're seeing right now is just a slew of players coming out and sending prayers, including a lot of his teammates, Nabil.
Yeah, that's got to be concerning, especially when it's coming from his teammates, because, you know, one guy sends a tweet, it's one thing, and kind of fumbles through, but when your own teammates are starting to send it out, then you know it could be real, could be very concerning.
And let's welcome back in Kendrick Perkins. Perk, what's your reaction to this news, and are you hearing anything as we're seeing so much outpouring for Klay from a lot of players?
Well, you know, I hate to see it because Klay is one of my favorite players. And, you know, I tore my ACL before, and the recovery and to bounce back, it makes you have a different appreciation for basketball. And I've been watching Klay and keeping up with him, and he's had a long journey, and he's worked his tail off to get back to where he's at. And to think that he hurt his leg and it might be a serious injury is not good news. And I feel sorry for him. I'm praying for the best. But usually when you see those praying hands going up, you know, all through the social media timeline, 9 times out of 10, Cassidy, is not good news.
Perk, how does this change the outlook for the Warriors tonight and then going forward through free agency if they don't know his status?
Well, I mean, you know, to me, I still think they should take James Wiseman. Desperate need of a to pick, and he's the guy that they need. He's a KG type player in my opinion. He plays with a tenacity. The sky's the limit. He's the best big in this draft. And you know what? When Klay and Steph get older, they can hand the keys over to him, and the franchise will be in great hands.
Well, Perk, I also wanted to get your thoughts on the news that Bogdan Bogdanović is going to enter as a restricted free agent. You tweeted about the Bucks starting lineup. What kind of impact do you think this stall, if you will, is gonna have on the Bucks' future here?
It's a huge impact. Look, he was the missing piece of the puzzle. I love the acquisition of Drew Holiday, but Cassidy, Bogdanović is a walking bucket. And you know what that goes to tell me about him going into unrestricted free agency is that his agent is telling him somebody's about to pay him a lot of letters. So he had to make this choice because he's up. He turned down the extension last season, so he's up for a big payday. I hate it though, because with him on the Milwaukee Bucks, they the best starting 5 in the league, hands down, and it wasn't a debate, but I guess I got to renege on that.
Yeah, and we're all going to be waiting to see what Giannis does now. Everyone was like, all right, you gotta sign now, but I'm sure we're going to be waiting a little bit longer. Perk, I also wanted to get your thoughts on, you know, we just heard from RJ Barrett. What is your biggest storyline you're focused on? I've been watching you all week. I know you've been talking a lot about the Knicks. So what are you hoping to see tonight?
The Knicks have to do well in this draft. Look, the Knicks are starting from the bottom. They're going in the right direction. I love the Tom Thibodeau hire. They need to find a way to move up in the draft. I keep preaching LaMelo Ball is what the Knicks need. But if you can't get them, it's a lot of good talent out there in this year's draft that the Knicks could get. And once they get the talent, they got to bring in the right coaches and right people for the player development. That's how the Knicks are going to start to go from the bottom and start rising through the draft and through player development.
Perk, we're about a minute so away from hearing who the first pick will be in the NBA draft. Give it to us. Who do you think is going number one and why?
Anthony Edwards. Look, Anthony Edwards is the best in the draft. He's a scorer. He has the athleticism of a Russell Westbrook, and he has the scoring ability of James Harden. This kid is just NBA ready, and I just don't see whoever have the number one pick passing up on Anthony Edwards. I don't see it.
Well, we'll see what happens tonight because I mean, he's an interesting guy. They had a conversation about him earlier about already throwing some shade at Damian Lillard, saying that, you know, football is his favorite sport, that he doesn't really like watching basketball. But look, I think people like watching him play basketball. So we'll see if he, in fact, goes number one. Make sure to log into your cable providers now to watch the NBA draft live on the ESPN app. For Nabil, Omar, Big Perk in Houston, I'm Cassidy Hubbarth. Thanks for watching Hoop Streams, the NBA Draft 2020 edition.